Are you going to do an intro?
The Certain Point of View finale? That's my intro. I intentionally left a question mark in there.
Is it?
Find out next time or not on the next episode of Certain Point of View. Welcome to Certain Point of View. I'm Maddie Thomas.
Hey, I'm Ben Milton.
And always in motion the future is, in our rankings and our thoughts about everything, especially Star Wars, and what podcasts we think are worth our time.
I still think
serial killers might not actually happen.
It may not happen. I'm actually really high on the idea. Not only am I really high, but I'm really high on the idea of doing the podcast about podcasts.
Yeah, I know you are.
I love that idea so much, but it would take so much work and so much energy.
Yeah, that it takes the fun out of being high at that point.
Yeah, I'd have to do that one sober.
Yeah. So, how you doing?
Okay, I'm actually not high, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
Just okay.
Yeah,
I've just been so busy lately, man. Like, I mean, you know this, like, for the last 6 months, like, I've really been focusing on marketing and learning marketing and strategy on internet marketing and stuff like that. And I've launched a new podcast for me personally and stuff. So that's been taking a lot of my energy. I've built 3 new websites.
Yeah, no, you have been busy.
I have been mad busy.
Busy.
Yeah, with an A.
Yeah.
Is that how that's spelled? B-I-Z-A? How do you spell bizay?
Bizay, B-I-Z-Z-A-Y is how
bizay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I've been. I've been B-I-Z-Z-A-Y.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm a little bit tired today. Like, I hit a wall around 4 where I was like, I just can't concentrate anymore.
Yeah.
And so I left work. And I came home, and on my way home, they were like, hey, we need you to do X, Y, and Z. So I had to do a bunch of work when I got home, eat real quick, and then you came over to do the podcast. And here we are. You're now caught up in everything that's happening in my life.
What?
Yeah, so, other than that, it's been really good. And it's not other than that, because it's actually been very exciting. I've been getting great feedback, and a lot of really, really cool stuff has been happening as a result of all my work. So,
yeah.
I'm very, very excited. Yeah. What about you? What have you been up to?
I
feel like I haven't seen you since the last time we recorded.
Well, I saw you last Monday, too. We got to hang out with our good
Oh, that's right. We were going to record.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I have a surprise for you.
Yeah, and we had fun, so that was nice.
Yeah.
It's been interesting, like, because I've spent a lot of time thinking about this movie. Much more time than I should, to be honest.
Most definitely. This movie does not deserve a lot of thought.
Well, yes and no, because I don't know. We're at an interesting point, and before we get into any of that, though, I do want to say, obviously we're wrapping up Certain Point of View. We're going to be coming back with serial killers in the near future.
Or will we?
Right. I've already paid money for the music, so it's too late to just stop here.
Yeah, we got our $40 music. We're pot committed.
I'm committed. But before we get into any of that, though, I do want to remind you can check out other podcasts that are part of certainpointofview.com or certainpov.com. In fact, I think it's worth checking out some of Fun and Games lately. They've been going through some fun stuff lately, especially as we're at the end and beginning of a decade, and as they talk about like sort of the retrospective of games of the last year and the last decade. It's a sort of a fun thing to check out. You can check that out along with a bunch of other podcasts, certainpov.com. So that's all there. If you're a patron for our show, thank you. But like Ben said, we're actually going to shut down the Patreon for just a little bit, and then we'll boot it back up when we're coming back around for serial killers. So don't stay too far away. I intend to use the same feed, so if you're subscribed to this, you're going to get serial killers, at which point you can unsubscribe if you don't like it. And if you like it, you can stay subscribed. So it'll make it nice and easy. So, but yeah, so Star Wars, I don't know. It's just, we're at an interesting point. Well, it's funny because it's been a little bit frustrating because I know you're in such an interesting phase with this movie.
Yeah.
And so I'm not able to talk to a lot of people about this movie right now.
Right.
Because I'm in such a different place with it.
Yeah, where you're more positive about it. I don't hate this movie.
Well, I'm trying to be positive. There's a big difference.
Right.
There's a very big difference.
And I'm not trying to be negative about this movie.
I know you
just
aren't
kind
either.
of just don't care.
Right. I know right now, it's just irrelevant at this point. I know, like, you don't hate the movie.
I don't hate the movie. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff in it.
Yeah, I think I'm just coming off of, like, doing... Well, there are a couple things. Coming off of The Last Jedi defense for so long.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to be guilty of what I accused all the people who didn't like Last Jedi for,
Right.
And in that, it's one thing to have criticism. I'm never going to take away the ability for someone to have critical thought about a story or about anything.
Right.
That's important to have.
Sure.
But I also don't want to I want to be careful of venturing into the territory of like the fandom menace,
Those assholes.
Yeah, like I can't stand them in any way. I think they're full of shit. I think it's one thing to not like the movie. It's one thing that it doesn't resonate with you. I think we've said it several times. People come to Star Wars for a lot of different reasons. Star Wars means something different to so many different people. I think that's one of the things that's so cool about Star Wars. But when you go to the point of wanting to sabotage something, you're not just sabotaging something. You're sabotaging something in your own self-interest and what other people are working hard to create, hopefully with some degree of integrity, and to make some sort of, art. It's one thing to say I'm not going to go see it. It's another thing to actively to actively mislead people like the way the Fandom Menace does. Right. The whole sub-industry of YouTube channels and blogs and clickbait headlines that is constantly trying to twist what is happening in the world of Star Wars is a real problem. It's
a real problem with everything.
It's a problem with everything. We're finding that tribalism and the echo chambers are a big problem. And you can, it's scary that it's in Star Wars as well. You would think like the place where you can have escapism, but escapism with some sort of meaning would be the one place where like, oh no, like this could hopefully be devoid of it. But it just shows you how much of this is a human condition where people are not willing to listen to each other.
Right.
And I think the willingness to listen is something I've been thinking about a lot. And then what does that also mean about what do I want to say? Because I think I'm one thing that I said about Last Jedi haters is that if you don't like this story, then write your own. Come up with something to say. Come up with a story that does say something that's meaningful. And I've been thinking more about that in the last couple of weeks. And do I have something to say? And like part of me thinks that there is, but part of me also thinks that there's something empty and is it self-serving? So there's a lot of identity crisis of thought and message that's happening for me right now.
Right.
And what do I really want to do?
Right.
Because I mean, the two of us get into so many damn projects.
Yeah,
and
too much.
And I'm particularly addicted to picking up too many damn projects. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is the thing that I truly want to put myself in wholeheartedly,
right?
Instead of putting myself into everything half-assed.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Right.
Problem. Yeah. I'm in a similar situation with this movie and with Star Wars too, except for I think I was walking down the hall from the bathroom today.
Yeah. A common occurrence for both of us.
Right. And it occurred to me that I'm in my mid to late 40s. Like, Star Wars isn't for me anymore. Like, I'm not the target demographic for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm not completely aged out of it.
Yeah.
But I'm aging out of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And who these stories are for. And I just I have to come to terms with that of like, oh, like in 1977 or whatever, 83, like that was for me. And that's why it resonates so deeply with me. These new Star Wars and the new Star Wars projects coming up, they're not really for me.
Well,
they're for kids.
Yes. I agree.
It's not
with
saying
you to
I can't enjoy them.
Right.
I can enjoy them, but they're not for me. They're not aimed at making me happy.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But yet there's something about The Last Jedi that resonates and Rise of Skywalker that doesn't.
Well, yes. Yeah, because it's good storytelling
right.
versus J.J. Abrams ending a story. J.J. Abrams is a master story setter.
Yeah.
He starts stories better than anybody else in the industry.
I almost
He
commented on your comment about
dog
that today.
shit at ending stories.
I'm not going to shit on JJ too much. Like, here's the thing. Ultimately, he wanted to tell a story that I fundamentally don't like the themes of, the things that he wanted to walk back. There was no scenario where I was going to end up liking it because of some of the fundamental concepts with his movie. And I think that's okay. I think what's interesting is, so I was listening to Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin talk about it. And, it was that they were the perfect, I think I tweeted it out, they were the perfect dyad of criticism for me, because Kevin Smith is there with his, like, full-on, I love this.
I love everything.
Yeah, and Mark Bernardin is, like, he clearly was, like, I think he's a little bit more, like, he was definitely more where I was, or where I am with this movie, where there's, like, this movie is not really what it could have been. There's a lot to enjoy, but, man, there's a lot that just sucks and doesn't really work in this movie. And Bernardin said something really interesting. He mentioned that JJ is in love with doing homage movies. Mm-hmm. You see it throughout his work. He likes talking in the language of homage. He loves filmmaking. He loves the experience. He is nostalgia. Mm-hmm. That is his movie language. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that means there isn't going to be some of the substance most of the time, that there isn't going to be some of the substance. I've never watched Felicity, so I can't judge any of that, but I do really love the first 2 seasons of Alias. I think he had some fantastic storytelling in those first 2 seasons. Yeah. And if you end it right at that second season, man, that is a fantastic show.
That says exactly what I was saying. He's great at starting a story.
And he's not great at ending it.
He's not great at ending stories.
I have different, like, Lost, I think it ended better than I once gave it credit for. It still has issues, for sure, but like you said, he's not great.
He's not great at ending stories satisfactorily for people.
But I think my thing is, I just don't want to make this like let's shit on J.J. Abrams.
No, I'm not shitting on J.J.
I know you aren't.
It's not.
That's what
not,
I'm trying to draw the line. But I think it's very easily.
It's not his forte. Like, looking back on like what could have happened for this movie, J.J. probably wasn't the best choice.
Yeah,
I love J.J. What he did in The Force Awakens, awesome. I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was great. And then what Ryan did in The Last Jedi took it to a whole new level, opened up the universe in a whole new way.
Yeah.
If you gave it to a third director to work,
I want to talk about that.
I think it would have been. I think the movie would have been better.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. The other thing that was interesting about what Bernardin said, he's JJ's all about honoring the fandom and the homages, and Ryan is about the characters.
Right.
And I think that's why Rian Johnson's work on Last Jedi continues to resonate with me, and still is such a strong movie, and I can still watch that without feeling, the
empty pangs of
which is a different experience for me when it comes to The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, because Dark Knight doesn't have certain payoffs. I can still look at Last Jedi as, even though there were certain payoffs I would have wanted, I can look at that as the end of the Skywalker saga satisfactorily, and still look at some elements that pays off with JJ still with some degree of satisfaction.
Yeah.
But so one thing that's been really interesting lately has been those rumors that have emerged, which have been debunked, by the way. Like, they're bullshit.
Yeah. This is the Reddit post that everybody put out.
Yeah, because even the source that they claim that leaked wasn't the one. But either way, like, the idea that and I'm not saying that there is zero truth to it. I think there's some degree of truth to it. But we'll get into that.
For those who haven't read the
basically,
Reddit.
They're saying that because JJ signed his big deal with Warner Brothers, that Disney sabotaged him and his movie, that they cut stuff that was in his final cut of the movie, like 20 minutes of it, forced him to cut it down from 3 hours to 2:22, and now like they're trying to create this whole like release the JJ cut type of like fervor that the release the Snyder cut crowd has. That essentially that Disney forced him to do a whole bunch of stuff that he didn't want to do, that to satisfy all sorts of parts of the fandom, the Last Jedi crowd, the anti-Last Jedi crowd, the Reylos, everybody there, like the long list of stuff. But the idea of sabotaging JJ, of sabotaging your own movie to sabotage his reputation for future movies doesn't hold water at all. Like, first off, why aren't they doing that for James Gunn as well with Suicide Squad? But like, why would you sabotage your own movie?
That makes no sense. No sense.
You're one of your big tentpole movies,
right?
That you're depending on a lot of money,
yeah,
and the continued health of a franchise,
yeah,
that you would hope to continue to inspire confidence in.
Yeah,
I will say I do think there would have been some pressure from Disney though to satisfy a lot of different camps.
Of course,
because I do think that to some extent, JJ was always going to do certain things. Like, the Palpatine relationship, I think, was always going to be the deal. But I do think that there was I feel like there was probably a checklist of, like, okay, hit this beat for them. Like, let's make the Last Jedi fans and the non-Last Jedi fans happy. Because this feels like a checklist. Like, someone, I forgot who said it, but it feels like someone went to BuzzFeed and found a list of all the things that people like about Star Wars, and they just put it all in this movie. Because that's how this movie plays.
Yeah.
Like, this movie really feels like, oh, someone really, 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 really wanted Chewie to get that medal, so let's make sure he gets that medal.
And I was happy.
But it doesn't make any damn sense, and it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't have any relevance to anything yet. You know, it's
just fan service. It's just bullshit fan service.
I mean, there's fan service all across this movie. And the not the good type of fan service, but the bad type of fan service. Like, this is like the comparison I made last week for this movie was I made the idea of, like, landing the franchise. Like, it was the eagle versus the MCU is the eagle, and this is an albatross with a peg leg, right? I feel like this movie is just getting a hand job, basically. It's not what you really want, but you'll take it.
You'll take it.
Like, all right. Yeah, that's how I feel about this movie. This movie is a hand job. Because, like, I was satisfied for certain things, but it isn't what I really wanted.
That's the greatest analogy ever. That is 100% the greatest analogy ever. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, no, this movie is a hand job, and it's too bad. To me, it's a bummer way to end the big saga.
Yeah, because that's not what you wanted to climax to.
No, but that's what I did.
Yeah.
I paid my $20. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take a nap now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we should actually end the series on that. But
just on a hand job?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to go take a nap now. See you in a couple months when we're back with serial killers.
But to continue the thought with it, it's yeah, I don't know.
There's just so much about this movie that I find unsatisfying.
Yeah.
Again, it's so beautiful. Like, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, if you just watch it from a spectacle standpoint, like, the framing and the effects all are amazing. Like, JJ's a great technical filmmaker.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
Here's what I'll also say is I do think the performances in this movie are pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, pretty good.
Adam Driver's
what I was gonna say.
Unbelievable.
He elevates this entire trilogy in an incredible way. Like, I will say, as much as, like, I kind of would like them to have done something a little bit more interesting with the Knights of Ren, not much more than what they did, because you really don't have the time to do it. But I love his little shrug before he takes them on, like that very Han Solo, like.
Yep.
It's just,
all right, bitches, it's on. It's great. He's great. He's great. Every scene that he's in is great.
Yeah, and there's some really good emotional moments in this movie. Like, I liked some of the elements at the beginning of this movie quite a bit. Like, I liked speed skipping.
I thought that was cool.
I thought that was fun. I love, like we've said it again, you know, the dynamic between the three, Finn, and Poe and Rey, was fantastic. Like, I look forward to an animated series that happens between Last Jedi and this, that we'll get to see more of that dynamic. But man, there's a really good Twitter post, and maybe I'll bring that up a little bit later. But here, instead of turning this into a total bitch fest, we did some good. Like, we gave a lot of.
You were just talking about all the things we like.
Well, no, I know, but we were, but it was very easy for me to start getting into it again.
Mm-hmm.
and I think we've said a lot of what we don't like about this movie. There will be more that we say, I'm sure, but there are some interesting things that I wanted to point out that I thought was really cool about this movie, and I think ultimately the idea of healing is, I think, one of the most beautiful ideas in this movie, and that isn't ruined by this movie. Because I do really like the idea of healing being what is the final part of finishing the Skywalker saga. Having the scene on the Death Star, on the ruins of the Death Star, on the legacy of all the mistakes that Anakin made and the Empire has made, and as its evils returned, having it sort of like start to play out again, but then, you know, you have that sort of the anger and the, like, even the over-the-top fights of the prequels, you had the jumping and everything, and you had a very Mustafar-like fight, except now with water and with lava. Yeah, like but then like that fight ends in a moment of healing.
Yeah.
And that what's really cool is that healing also takes away Ben Solo's scar, the one on his face, and I thought that was really, really cool. And what's really interesting is I like the way they set up for it. As much as I was really happy we didn't have snakes in Star Wars until now. God damn it. Because I
really needed a Han Solo snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Yeah, right? I do love the imagery of that moment and the foreshadowing in that moment.
Yeah.
Of Rey having to give up some of her life force to heal that snake. And to have it represented by a snake is important because it needed to be something that is associated with evil. That's part of nature and the chaos of the dark side. And that isn't necessarily evil, but is often representative and associated with evil. And I think that creates like a great analogy for what the dark side is as part of the idea of balance. Not just pure evil and selfishness, but to have that a creature like that then healed.
Right.
And then not only that, but it shifts away. Like, it's the shadow self shifting away, and in the moment that it shifts away and leaves, it reveals the light and the path out from under a cave. So, like, from a character perspective and from a thematic perspective, like, I really do think that that's actually, as much as that moment is so contrived to get to that spot, and you go through all these, like, really dumb plot devices to get there, that the imagery of that moment does really work for the idea of, like, it does take a moment of healing, it takes a moment of compassion for something that you normally wouldn't have compassion for, to have the shadow self leave and to reveal your way out from the trouble of the cave that you're in. I think that is really awesome.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And it's a message that we need in our society right now.
Yeah.
We need healing in our society right now.
That's what redemption is.
Yeah.
That's overcoming fear.
Right.
And that's what Star Wars is still about. And what's really cool is that despite how many mistakes are made in this movie, like, it's still that, fortunately, that message is still able to survive.
Yeah. It's in there if you look for it.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to miss.
It is.
It's
it really
very
is.
easy to miss because it happens in weird ways and weird, like you said, convoluted kind of,
right.
Like, what? Okay, I guess this is
there's a lot of mixed thoughts.
Yeah, the plot doesn't really work, even though the ideas are there.
Looking at you, Big Papa Palpatine.
And I love the symmetry. It's like poetry, it rhymes, of bringing Palpatine back.
Yeah.
I loved that Palpatine was in this movie.
Yeah.
I think it 100% could have worked. That was a great idea.
Yeah.
They didn't get for as masterful as he is in the first movies. Like, he's a complete bumbling idiot, this movie.
Right.
He's just a moron.
You know what? Someone pointed out, though, that that's always been his MO, that he's always been, like, changing his plan as things go, because, like, his plan was Maul, but then Maul gets kind of, like, you know, struck down, and it's like, well, maybe.
No, his plan was always Anakin.
You think his plan was always Anakin?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, we know that he had a hand in creating Anakin.
That's not.
Isn't that in the comic book?
So like, in the comic book, it's more of a thematic thing, not like a necessarily like this is factually like he created Anakin.
Oh, I thought I saw like some panels where it was like
right, like the idea is that the hate creates him, but the idea is that that's what creates Vader, not that the one that's part of the fear, that's fear and attached to Shmi and losing things, rather than definitive. Like Charles Soules even said that no, this is not definitively saying
okay.
that Palpatine, and even Story Group has backed that up too.
Okay.
So that's not like while that's been a lot of the interpretation, and I thought so too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's apparently that's not.
That's not actually the case.
It's
okay.
more, yeah, it is more of because it is more sort of like a dark side spirit journey that he's on in that comic.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of like, because even the way like the imagery of Padme in that isn't a 1-to-1 like, you know, yeah, like factual like whatever plot fact whatever. So
either way, like, he adjusts his plan as he goes. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But his plan is so like his plan doesn't make sense in this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In this movie, it doesn't make
absolutely.
sense. Like,
because like even the idea of like I'll give you that. Let's say the Sith cult that he's been working with has been making all these Star Destroyers all this time. Right, and they've been keeping it on ice. Right. Because they really wanted to blow someone's mind when he revealed all of them. I mean, he's always been pretty theatrical, though.
Yes,
so I mean,
has.
this is the guy who's throwing like the Senate at people, at somebody while he was saying, "I am the
who
Senate."
will electrocute himself.
Right. Because he's got to be committed. He's done it twice.
This moron.
You know what I will say? I kind of am disappointed that Rey didn't claim the last name Senate now.
I am the Senate, bitches. And she just takes over everything.
Right?
Oh, that would have been the best. Oh my God. All right, well, we're gearing back into like
so
things that we don't like, but I love that Palpatine's back. I think that's great.
Yeah. But I could have very easily done without it as well. So,
no, I like it. I think it ends the trilogy smartly. Like having him as the final bad is cool.
I think my big issue with Palpatine is they don't earn his return.
No, not at all.
It's just the dead speak. Like the dead speak is the funniest, dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying a couple Twitter accounts out there that have made fun of that line and have gone with the idea of Palpatine being like this old guy who needs Rey to like help him with his remote, learn how to use a smartphone, like all these sort of like.
Yeah, no, I do like Palpatine back, and I thought that Ian McDiarmid did great.
Yeah,
what he had, and it just wasn't executed well. Like the plot just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I liked it thematically. I liked the direction that was going. Here's the question that I have for you.
Sure.
And this is the area of Star Wars where you and I always enjoy.
Yeah.
Is the speculation.
Sure.
So.
Well, I love and hate the speculation.
Well, the kind of speculation we're about to do.
Okay.
Rey and Ben just killed off Palpatine, the last known living Sith.
Yeah.
Have they brought balance to the Force, or have they brought imbalance to the Force? What does this mean for Star Wars? What does this mean for this universe? Like, are the Sith done now? Is there no more Sith?
No, I don't think the Sith ever. I think even the idea of the Empire doesn't, and space Nazis doesn't go away necessarily.
No, the space Nazis don't go away because there's always assholes.
Yeah, and I think similarly the Sith doesn't. The desire for obsession with the physical, which is a big. Which, by the way, there was an episode of Clone Wars where Yoda makes the distinction that the Jedi are supposed to be more concerned with both worlds, the ethereal and the physical. The Sith are obsessed with the physical, and making the power of that so much stronger than it needs to be or should be, rather than realizing the power of both worlds. So I think that urge and that intention and that tendency still exists. History still repeats itself. So I don't think it ends there. I think there's maybe there's one of those guys at the stands on Exegol was able to escape, that Sith cult. Still, probably someone didn't get a chance to make it to Exegol on time for the ceremony. Like you got a chance for the Sith to still live in some form. In the same way that let's say after this, the idea of the Jedi is. Or the religion of the Force is, hey, we're worshiping like the idea this is the Church of the Force, and we're kind of in the Skywalker tradition, right? I think there still is the possibility of like the Church of Palpatine, or the Church of Obi-Wan, or whoever else, or the Church of Rey, or whatever it is. I think there's still a way for those beliefs to still exist, and for evil to return, or obsession with certain things to return. Like like just defeating evil one time, which I think is a flaw with people who didn't like Luke's journey in Last Jedi, doesn't mean that the journey is over. Like, you're not tempted just once in your life, and once you overcome that temptation once, it never happens again. That's
what Joel Osteen told me.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's not realistic. It doesn't make sense. That's not the human experience. So I don't think it would feel right for Star Wars to have, like, what's interesting, and it's almost a dick move that he says this, but Hayden's line in this movie, when in the Jedi Steps moment, when they go to the stars and you hear all the Jedi, Anakin says, "Rey, bring balance to the Force as I did." Right. It's like, seriously, you got to make it all about you? Like, really?
Such an Anakin move. Such an Anakin move.
But it's like, that's like a weird dig to, like, just, oh, no, I did this before too, you know?
Yeah, you can do it.
Thanks for making it last. Like, Palpatine came back, you asshole.
You didn't kill him that well.
Right? But I don't know. So I think if you're going to take the movie on itself, like, yes, first off, the idea of Palpatine can come back again. There's nothing stopping that based on
the logic of what they did to bring him back.
Right, since there was zero logic in bringing him back. It's just like, he's back. Like, I love that Poe has the line, well, apparently Palpatine's back. That like sums up that movie so well.
That should have been the tagline. That should have been Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker.
Apparently, Palpatine's back.
Oh, well. No biggie. We'll do this again.
I mean, all they needed to do, and I know, like, on another pass one day we'll go into, like, what we could have done to fix this movie, but, like, it's
I don't
funny.
have the time.
Well, you know what? You're right. You know what's funny is, like, immediately after watching this movie, I was already in, like, okay, how do I fix this in my head?
Movie? This
like,
is awful.
It happened, like, right as directed by J.J. Abrams came up.
As I was watching
the movie,
like,
if I'm honest.
Well, I wouldn't have done that.
You can fix this here. While I was watching it.
Yeah. I had a hard time. I had a hard time, like, getting involved with this movie.
Yeah. I was able to do it at times.
Moments.
Yeah.
There were moments where I was like, oh, I totally forgot I was watching a movie and I was just watching it.
Yeah.
The rest of the time I was just like, what is happening? What are you doing? It makes no goddamn sense.
Oh, man.
And that's when that's kind of like where I'm at, where I'm like, yeah, I may be too old for this. Like, I may have gone past where I need to be to watch this kind of entertainment.
Sure.
Where I want something with a little more meat on its bones.
Yeah.
Instead of just
yeah,
fun and adventure.
That's one thing that came out of today for me. Like, I made a long list of, like, okay, here are movies I definitely need to watch. Like, first off, that list is so long already. But, like, here's the directors that I really want to check out their work, and, like, a couple scattered movies that I really want to check out. But yeah, it's. Yeah, what were we saying about? Oh yeah, so I think the Sith threat can come back. I don't think that's the end of the Sith.
Yeah, all you have to do is have somebody find a holocron and Yahtzee.
Yeah,
I mean a wayfinder.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have too much. I know it's funny. I mean, you know what? I don't I don't think it's terrible that they did that. Like, it's an easier way to explain it to the normal audience that, oh, this is to help them find their way to Exegol, rather than to be like, what the hell's a holocron, you know? Like,
yeah, I know why they did it.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I'm with you.
Come on, man. You took shortcuts everywhere.
Yeah, they did.
That's really the biggest problem with this movie. So they took shortcuts at every opportunity.
Yeah, and shortcuts that didn't really work either.
Yeah, because
nothing could breathe. Like, God,
it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess of a movie, and it's a disappointing movie for me.
You know, going back though to the theme of healing, you know what I do think is cool with, as much as I like a lot of me, I have still mixed feelings about this. I'm ultimately glad Ben Solo dies because it means it's the end of the Skywalker saga officially. Mm-hmm. So now you can break away from the expectations.
No, because Rey's a Skywalker.
Okay. Well, I'm fine with, like, yeah, but she's not a bloodline.
Yeah, but let's not pretend that it's not going to continue with her. That saga's going to continue eventually.
Yeah, but I don't know but it doesn't have to be the same type of story. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, I know you're right. It doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to be, but
But
will
it's
it?
gonna. But it's gonna.
I do like someone pointed out like this is like two quotes and kind of connects them. Like the idea of Anakin wants to learn to stop people from dying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Kylo Ren, has this obsession with finishing what Anakin started,
Mm-hmm.
and Palpatine offers it through the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
But Ben Solo is able to accomplish that. He's able to stop someone from dying, but through compassion and through sacrificing himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also something cool that deserves a little bit more credit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even though part of me would have loved to see, Ben Solo having to atone for his sins and live with that. Like, I think there's something cool about that. Maybe having to rebuild, like, a new order and everything, or, like,
There's no way
build
it could
homes in
happen.
Space Haiti.
They would have murdered him first chance they got.
I know, right?
There's
He
no-
would have
there's
been
no-
executed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no real, like, there's no believable way that Ben Solo lives on.
Yeah, I know.
There's just not. There's
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah.
He's a war criminal. Like,
He is.
on the
I
losing
know.
side.
It's been an interesting discussion, though, to see people talk about that, because that's been a big point of discussion, is about whether it was cheap to let, to kill him off immediately. I think at the end of the day, you kind of had to.
You had to.
Yeah,
There's
as I
no
think
way
more and
he
more
could.
about
There's
it.
no logical way where he could continue to be.
I think atonement may have to be something we may have to see with other characters. And I
At
think
best, maybe you would exile him somewhere,
right.
And just like have him rotting somewhere.
Yeah, you know what? What's interesting is this is made as much as this has made me appreciate Last Jedi even more than I thought I could possibly imagine. I would also say that this makes me appreciate Rebels even more than I already loved it, because you still have you fortunately have a story of an ordinary kid becoming someone special and doing it by spreading like love and small actions with people along the way. I know people sometimes complain about filler episodes with that, but that's what the point of a lot of those filler episodes were. Those small actions of compassion and love and helping people that you wouldn't necessarily help, that ends up, and all of like it all comes together by the end of the series to help them accomplish what they need to. So I think like even if like let's say they mess up the story with Ezra in the next animated series, Rebels on its own like still exists like as this beautiful story of that of how you can reach people and overcome fear in different ways, and it felt like there was a moment like that. Like it felt like Rey was gonna have some of those moments where like I do like the moment when they're on planet Bollywood and like that the little girl asks like what's your name, and she's just Rey from nowhere and all that kind of stuff like that. I thought that was real, like some cool stuff there. It's just sad that they couldn't like let it be that, like that this idea of her being compassionate was going to be a bigger deal. Like it had to become about her, being related to the worst man in the history of the galaxy, but
Is he though?
Is he?
Is he? I mean, he had some valid points.
No, he's Space Hitler. He's definitely Space Hitler.
Sure, but not all of his ideas were bad.
He got rid of slavery, so all right, there's that.
So there is that.
Other than that, I'm not sure what good ideas you're talking about.
I mean, he had great uniforms.
Okay, now you're going there.
He had great uniforms. Ships were spectacular. He put a lot of people to work.
All right, I'm done. I don't know if you saw this Twitter thread, but
I definitely did not.
You may have, because we saw a lot of the same Twitter threads. Because this is this is a Twitter thread from like 2 days after the movie came
then
out.
I might have.
Yeah, but there was a really interesting Twitter thread, and I do want to read this one. This dude being sarcastic about it, but someone who definitely likes The Last Jedi, and he says, I love the way Rise of Skywalker opened with that huge montage of Rey, Finn, and Poe going from world to world, rallying resistance sympathizers to their cause. People inspired by the legend of Luke Skywalker kicking off a full-scale uprising against the First Order. Loved that. I love the way Rise of Skywalker explored how the First Order was collapsing from the inside under the command of an increasingly out-of-control Kylo Ren, and how Hux and the other generals tried to wrestle control away from him and his Knights of Ren. Love that. I love the way Rise of Skywalker had Finn become the rallying point for conscripted stormtroopers, inspired by his escape, who wanted to break free of the First Order and fight back against them, giving him a truly meaningful role in that final showdown. Love that. I love the way Rise of Skywalker had Rey, the last Jedi, seeking out other Force-sensitive people to join the cause, all while creating a new Jedi legacy, knowing that in the end she needed to be the one to defeat Kylo and the Knights of Ren. I love the way Rise of Skywalker had Rey adopt Luke's new Jedi principles, focusing on non-violent defensive techniques over attack, teaching the new Jedi to protect what they love, not fight what they hate, and to let compassion guide them as it did Luke. I love the way Rise of Skywalker explored how Rey from nowhere, struggles to be the figurehead of the new rebellion, and how she lives through constant internal conflict over how to forge her own destiny and find her place among the heroes that surround her. I think I just love the way Rise of Skywalker used every idea set up and made possible by The Last Jedi in order to break truly new and unique ground for a Star Wars movie, creating a spectacular and emotional finale that builds on all that came before. I'm all for subversion. One of my favorite things about Last Jedi is how it bends the very linear ideas and arcs of The Force Awakens into bold new directions. But Rise of Skywalker doesn't really do that. It just starts playing with cards that were never on the table. But I mostly like where we end up thematically. The Sith gone, the Jedi buried, and Rey, embodying both light and dark, adopting the moniker of Skywalker to symbolize the union of both sides within her. But everything else before that, I'll forever stand by Rey, just Rey being infinitely more powerful. I thought that was a fantastic.
That's a good critique. Yeah, it's a good critique.
Yeah,
I liked it as well. Well said, whoever that was.
Right.
On the internet, on the
at Loverboy Media.
All right, Loverboy Media,
Yeah.
you get your shout out on a certain point of view.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you finally made it.
I'm pretty sure he has more subs than we do.
I guarantee it. If we could get a shout out from him, that would be
That would
great.
help. Yeah.
Hey, Loverboy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind a shout out, buddy. Yeah. I'm excited to see where we go in Star Wars next.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of done now. Like, I'm done with
I'm glad the
this.
Skywalker saga is over.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, The Mandalorian is definitely something to be
Mandalorian's
excited.
fantastic.
Now, let's talk about that for a bit.
Okay.
Because, we have not talked about the finale of The Mandalorian. And the, holy crap, that season finale was fantastic.
I've watched it so many times.
I know, right?
It is the exact opposite of the Rise of Skywalker for me, where I'm like, I can't watch this enough. I love it every time.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's amazing.
I mean, that opening scene is hilarious.
Oh my god, when
The
he
two
starts
scout troopers.
when they start punching Baby Yoda, I laugh every time. out
Actually,
loud.
you know what? That's the most evil person in the Star Wars galaxy. Sorry, Sheev.
You failed. You didn't punch Baby Yoda. And they both do it, which is so funny. Oh my god, have you seen the there's somebody who put that scene on loop
Oh yeah, for like a 10-hour YouTube video.
and they set it to what music?
Oh, they said it to
Titanic.
music?
Yeah, they set it to the Titanic soundtrack.
No.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
Oh my god. IG-11.
Oh, he's my favorite. I want an IG nanny droid so bad now. Oh my god, my life would be so great if I had an IG nanny droid.
The joy on baby Yoda's face
They're
as he's
cruising
going
into
through
town.
and destroying stormtroopers left and right. I love the stormtroopers that are there, bothering the Jawa.
And
That's
the
my
Jawa's
favorite.
face is like, what the hell happened? It's the best.
And my favorite line, which is one of now in the pantheon of appropriate lines to yell out during sex, Star Wars lines to yell out during sex, goes to Carl Weathers.
Yes.
And is, baby, do that magic hand thing.
Do that magic hand thing. And he just waves back at him. Oh, it's so funny.
Oh.
It's so good. And Carl Weathers might be guilty of the most overacting I have ever seen.
Really?
He is so
Have you not watched Predator? The opening
Yes,
to Predator?
I have. But he is so over the goddamn top.
He is.
It's so great. so great.
It's so good. It's so good.
Everything about it has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like when IG takes off his helmet.
Makes the processing unit joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hilarious. But just like seeing his face and how scared he is.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense that he had a head wound underneath his helmet.
Yeah.
I will say that. Like that I was like, well, then there should be a hole in his helmet.
Right.
But what do I know?
I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to
a
go
doctor.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, whatever. Sure. You're bleeding in your head. Okay. Whatever. But like, it was cool. Like his hair's all matted and nasty and stuff like that. Like it was great. It was fantastic. We find out his name.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know more about Moff Gideon and like how did he know who they were?
Well, he did say
I know
that,
he knows about, sure, but how did he know it was those three people inside that room?
Oh, yeah. All three of them. I can understand how he knew about Grief Karga.
Yeah, and I can understand how he'd know Mandalorian.
Yeah, but Cara Dune
should have been a surprise to him, but it wasn't.
Right. Well, he was very aware even that Baby Yoda wasn't there.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
so,
where is he getting this intel
well,
at?
Here's the thing. He was what I thought was interesting is he's an ISB officer.
Right.
He's part of the Security Bureau, so he would have been connected to
their intelligence community.
Right. I'm trying to remember the guy who's the head of the ISB. He's in Rebels. He sits at the table in A New Hope, and he was the admiral you see in a lot of Clone Wars. I always forget that guy's name, but again, like it shows you like the strength, like how he's a survivor for sure. But I think the thing that makes me excited is the Darksaber.
What?
Right?
I did not see that coming.
Not in any way did I see that coming. When I saw the black light come out of there, holy crap! I got
chills.
Yeah,
I got chills.
it was.
I got this stupid shit-eating grin on my face and
Right?
chills, and I was just like, I still get it. Like the hair on my arms is standing up now as we're talking about it. I was like, my God, it's a Darksaber! It's a Darksaber!
But like that was such a great fan service, but I'm good fan service.
That's the best kind of fan service.
And something that feels like okay, it's teasing at more story to come.
It's teasing story from that we've gotten before, and,
Right.
it opens up a whole new area of the universe, which is exactly what fan service should do.
Yeah.
Fan service shouldn't close things.
Right.
It should open them up
Right.
to even more.
Right.
And I feel like going back to Rise of Skywalker, like a lot of the fan service that we have done in that movie just shuts things down.
Yeah.
It's just ending stories and
Well, but isn't that kind of like the job of an ending movie too, though?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But the fan service aspect of it should allow
Okay.
more
yeah.
story to be told.
That's fair. Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. But
So I'm jacked. I cannot wait for season 2.
supposedly we are going to get some sort of character that we are familiar with from the Skywalker saga in season 2.
Right.
So, who knows who that's going to be?
Rose.
I'm not even going to.
I mean, she had nothing else to do.
Right? She's got time. Oh God, that's such a dick move. That is such a dick move what they did on that movie.
I mean, I'm not a Rose fan.
Yeah.
I didn't like her character very much.
Oh yeah.
She didn't. I mean, she was okay. She was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I love Rose as a character.
I thought she was okay. It was an interesting take on the galaxy and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I thought she was a little too, I don't know, starry-eyed about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
That's exactly what I liked though, because I felt like she was our point of view character. Like she was the Star Wars fan.
oh no, I didn't feel that at all. I
Yeah.
didn't feel any connection with her. I was like, oh, you're not jaded enough. You haven't seen enough.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think like I like the idea of her like seeing like someone that she looked at as a hero like Finn and seeing like, oh no, you're not at all what you are. Like,
You're a douchebag.
yeah, and then like having to like, but still like not losing her spirit was again part of like the bigger
The
message
theme,
of that story. So
Maybe it will be Rose.
yeah.
Who would you?
That's not going to be Rose.
I mean,
I don't think she's probably even born at that point in the story.
oh right.
Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who do you think it would be then? Somebody from the Skywalker. So it would have to be somebody from the original trilogy, basically.
So,
we could get Tarkin. No, we can't get Tarkin.
Tarkin's
He's dead.
He's long
We could
dead.
get
I could
Bosk.
see. I was gonna say any of the bounty hunters on the bridge of the Executor. I think it's the
Dengar?
most likely. Oh, I would be so happy with that.
Down with Dengar.
Yeah, I like as much as I'd like Bosk himself. Like we got some Trandoshans, so
Yeah.
I've got my Trandoshan fixed for the
Oh,
moment.
I did not. I will
I'll
take more.
more. I will take more.
love me some trannies.
But Dengar needs some love.
Dengar
needs-
does need some love.
But you know what? At the same time, 4LOM could also use some love. Zuckus. Come on, man. Let's get some of those guys up in the front.
You know what? Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll take some Zuckus.
Yeah.
I'll take some Zuckus. I won't be mad. You throw
Yeah.
some Zuckus in there, I'll be happy.
Dengar's the one I kind of want most, though.
I do want more about Dengar.
Yeah.
I do
But
want to know
here's
more
the
about
thing.
him.
Like, we also don't know if we're going to get, like, are we going to get Clone Wars era character because of flashback?
You know who we could get? You know who could who we could get?
Who?
Dexter.
Dexter Jetster?
Yep.
I'd be down. I'd be down. I'm down for more Dexter Jetster. I want Dexter Jetster's Cheers as a series within.
Where everybody knows your name.
Those miners on Camino.
That would be amazing. That'd be the funniest Star Wars episodes ever. Oh my god. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be great.
I'm sure I'm not the first person who's mentioned that idea. I feel like I've probably seen that somewhere. But Cheers in Dexter Jetster's Diner.
Dexter Jetster's Cheers
Yeah,
would be pretty amazing.
yeah.
Who else could we possibly see? Lando.
Yeah, I think Scum
he's
and
so
Villainy is
old.
the most. Well, yeah. I mean, at that point, like, do you really want to introduce him live action and do the de-aging for him?
No.
Like,
I do not.
Yeah,
I saw
think-
enough.
Yeah,
I saw enough of Billy D. Williams.
yeah. I had my fill of Billy D. Williams on that movie. Like, I'm glad seeing him back.
Sure, it was nice.
I think it worked.
Yeah.
Not.
Ish.
Yeah, exactly. As best as it could.
All things considered.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Scum and Villainy seems to is
Sure.
where this show operates. So, Force user doesn't seem likely, but it is a possibility because we do have a little Force user here.
Right. He's gonna
Like,
need
do we
some-
see Luke as a possibility in this series? I don't think that's entirely impossible. Even like you don't have to
No.
do de-aged Mark Hamill. Sebastian Stan
is
on
ready
standby,
He's right there.
right?
It's right there. Yeah.
You just make sure you do the makeup so he's got the scar. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It could work. That could work. I'd be kind of cool with that.
I'd be okay with them not. Though.
I would rather them not do
Yeah.
Luke. I honestly would rather them not do Luke. I'd rather them not do Luke, Leia, Han, or Chewie.
I was gonna say, what about Chewie? Like, what if it's just Chewie on his own at some point?
No, Chewie should never be out on his own. He always needs to be with somebody. He's a dog. Like, you don't let otherwise it's impossible journey.
No, but he's the master. Han's the dog. We know this.
We know this, yes, for sure. But like that, ideally, like he should be with
Yeah,
Han.
no, that's
He
true.
should be Han. He should be with somebody doing
Yeah,
that stuff.
this feels very Wookieist.
I don't want to see R2. I don't want to see 3PO.
Yeah, I'd be fine without the
I don't
droids.
want to see any of the those main characters.
But it feels like Skywalker Saga is what they're saying. It doesn't seem like they're saying that, oh, here's going to be a character from Rebels in live action. I mean, I
Sure.
could see Sabine, potentially.
I could see Sabine. That would make
Especially-
a ton of sense.
You know, because
Darksaber.
Yeah, Darksaber. I mean, so, like, who I think might show up is Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan.
Mhm.
Because she is the character we last saw with the Darksaber.
Right.
Because Sabine did give her the Darksaber, and she was Satine's sister, and she was the one to unite Mandalore.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm fascinated by the idea of what's the story of what happened
Right.
afterwards. You know,
The sacking of Mandalore. Yeah.
exactly, and the purge, or like what's made the Mandalorians go into hiding
Right.
after all of that. So, because I mean, that's still end of the Galactic Civil War. Like
Yeah.
that's not Clone Wars story. So I'm really
I'm
interested
curious to
see
learn more
what
about
they're-
that. Yeah, there's a lot of story that this has opened up for us to tell. I mean, that's what I love. I love most about this first season is how much it's opened up Star Wars too.
Yeah.
You know, in the same way that The Last Jedi did in a lot of ways. this series has opened up more of the universe to explore and see, and I'm crazy excited about it. I'm really happy that the direction that it's going.
Right.
We'll see.
Right.
I don't know. I think Katie Sackhoff as what's her name?
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, yeah. Is a great choice.
Yeah.
I
I only say that because she voiced her in the series. So,
right.
You know.
I mean, they could get anybody to play her.
Yeah.
I think we could see. Oh no, he's dead.
Who are you gonna say?
I was just say, what's his name? Lies.
Right. I think the only way because here's the thing, like because we have seen some flashbacks though to Clone Wars era, because obviously Din Djarin, we saw his origin moment where the Mandalorian saved him. I think it isn't entirely impossible we get this sort of like 2 timeline story.
Oh yeah,
where we see like the Mandalorian
coming
values.
up through the Mandalorian,
right? Him as a child training and learning those lessons, and then trying to figure out like, are these the lessons I do want to teach to
Yoda?
To
Baby Yoda?
Yeah, or like what does that mean as I am this father? Because I think that's sort of an interest. It's what has been giving this story more substance already. Is that there are moments where he's deciding, he sees a connection to this character, as even though this character is weak in his own mind initially, he sees compassion, he sees similarity, and he's willing to sacrifice even some of his own values and part of his creed, at least the trappings of the creed, for the essence of it, for the purpose of it, to raise and help this
foundling.
Yeah, exactly. Even to go against even his beliefs as a bounty hunter, because he's not a good guy. Like we see, he's had a dark past and run with some bad circles. But why is he deciding to make these choices now? And what does that mean for him? And I don't think it's impossible to have that kind of story. I'm not sure if they'll do that, but who knows? Like, I mean,
it's hard to tell.
Yeah. What's been nice is this show has been very free of format.
Yeah,
and I've said it before. I love that about this show. Like, I'm fine if this show's got a 30-minute, like a 25-minute episode, because that's what's necessary to tell
the story. Yeah, and the directors that they've hired have been fantastic.
Yep.
The storytelling has been fantastic. The directing everything about it has been top notch. Like, I'm really, really impressed with Disney.
Yeah,
really impressed with Disney on this one. Makes a lot of sense. And it makes me excited for the Obi-Wan series.
Right.
Like, that's going to be fantastic. Nice to see Ewan McGregor growing out his hair at the Golden Globes.
Apparently, I heard.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah?
Looks good.
Oh, I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be fun.
I'm so excited to see him again.
Right?
I love Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. I'm glad he's going to get a chance to...
Another shot at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He of all the people, like, it's like him and Adam Driver... like really deserve another shot at their characters,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to original trilogy, we've got great stuff. There's nobody that needs an extra shot. In a way, we're Alec Guinness
except for
posthumous.
Zuckuss.
Yeah. Right.
Zuckuss, apparently. We're both hungry for Zuckuss and Dengar to get some screen time.
Well, and we're kind of getting Boba Fett like what we want from Boba Fett.
What we wanted from Boba Fett. Who we wanted Boba Fett to be is now the Mando.
Yeah. Boba Fett is still a punk, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Totally fine with that. Din Djarin is where it's at, because you know what? He's got to disintegrate a lot, and I'm all about more disintegrations. Because that shit's awesome.
That is really cool. Such a great effect, too, when it happens.
Right?
Just the ash floating.
With the Jawas in particular were my favorite disintegrations. But when he's going through the town and everything, it's
It's great.
So good.
It's so much fun.
There's so many cool moments in that show. I saw like a I just rewatched one of the trailers, and like every single episode, like it's funny. Like I've heard some people complain about certain things, but like the Tatooine episode. My God, like the scene where they're doing the flares to throw off Fennec, like is so
cool.
Good.
Screaming across
Right?
the valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sign language with the Tusken Raiders.
Oh, that's my favorite thing so far in the series. I love that more than I love Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
I like Baby Yoda. I love Baby Yoda, but the fact that the Tusken Raiders are just autistic just makes me so happy. I love that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many things like that, like Bill Burr being in Star Wars.
Oh,
And getting pissed off to like when someone thinks he's a stormtrooper.
Yes. And the scout biker troopers. There's so many
Jason
callbacks
Sudeikis,
that I
yeah.
want to have happen in season 2.
Yeah.
Like I want to have him run into the Bill Burr team again.
Yeah.
I want the scout troopers to be like reassigned somewhere else that
Right.
Mando path crosses.
Yeah.
Like I just want, like, there's certain characters in this first season that I just want to see again and see more of. I think that'd be fantastic.
Well, you know, that's something we mentioned when we've been talking about the episode, because obviously we've talked a lot about the episode. But you mentioned the Scout Troopers. Not only was it awesome, like just the dialogue, but shooting at the little
the can and not being able to hit it.
was fantastic.
Shaking the gun and hearing it rattle. Just be like, God damn it.
I mean, it's Taika at his best.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good.
IG-11 Sacrifice,
I never was so sad to see a droid die.
right?
And yet so excited to see it all at the same time.
Right.
So funny that he finally got to blow himself up. From day one, he's been trying to blow himself up. He finally gets to do it. I never saw a droid want to kill himself so bad.
I do also love Din Djarin getting to take the massive gun
Yes.
and just go to town.
But I did think it was kind of funny that that Moff Gideon just blows up the battery.
Oh yeah, that was
Nobody else
fantastic.
thought of that?
Well, it's stormtroopers. Not even
They
that
probably couldn't
troopers
hit
not
it
even-
anyway.
right? Oh, that was yeah.
And the flamethrower trooper,
Oh, he's so dramatic.
he was really
He was
over the
so
top.
over dramatic, but I love it.
He was all,
The way he just steps in.
shakes in.
I'm surprised he didn't light a cigar off of his flamethrower. Like that's what that guy deserved to do.
I'm surprised his last name wasn't Skywalker.
Right?
He was so dramatic.
I don't know. I might go with Flame Runner. Bob Flame Runner.
But he had Anakin's flair of just being way too dramatic about
Right.
shit.
Oh man.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. I'm totally bummed the Ugnaughts dead though.
Yeah, but it was a great sacrifice.
It was a great
It
sacrifice.
was. Yeah.
And let's be honest, Nick Nolte will probably be dead. by
Yeah, you
season
can't count
2.
on Nick Nolte.
Can't
being
count on
back.
Nick Nolte, man. That guy's been around forever.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. Wow, that's there's as much as we you know, there's a lot that we don't like about Rise.
There's a lot I love about Star Wars and where it's going.
Yep. And the rumor that we will be getting a sequel animated series for Rebels
Yeah.
has me super excited.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
I'm not as excited. I will be. I'm not as excited about Resistance right now. Like
Yeah.
I'm. My excitement for Resistance is waning. Like I
Yeah.
I had a lot of hope for it in the beginning, and I'm just like it's still.
Well, because
it
Rise didn't really
hasn't.
go. Yeah.
It hasn't hooked me. There hasn't been an episode where I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
this is it.
the most recent set of episodes I'm liking a bit more, but at the same time I'm like I'm ready for this show to wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. It is definitely aimed at a younger audience
For
than
sure.
us.
Yeah.
And then even Rebels or Clone Wars ever was. That's fine. Like
Yeah,
there's
I don't have a
aspects I
problem with that.
enjoy. Their characters.
It's a fun,
I
silly
like.
show.
Yeah, exactly, and not really more than that. That's totally fine. There's some interesting moments here or there that have some depth that I appreciate, but
Overall, it hasn't been
yeah.
overwhelming.
Yeah, but you know what I will say is I love the animation style. I know that the easy way to go will, and I imagine the Rebel sequel series, if it really is true, will end up going with 3D animation, and I guess that's the right way to go.
Yeah,
But I do hope they do another series in this style of animation.
I do like the style of animation.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
Like the way the lighting looks in this series, so good.
Yeah.
So
You
good.
get a lot of detail like this.
Motion in this series looks fantastic and looks
The dog
better,
fighting looks ridiculous.
right? Yeah,
Dog fighting looks ridiculous.
because sometimes I think the issue with sometimes the 3D stuff is that it often has to look a little bit slower, to have that clarity,
Yeah.
and that's fine. Like the emotional through lines have really worked well for those storylines and have compensated for sometimes how
Clunky it is.
Yeah, but I think that's one way where this style of animation can really excel, and I hope that if it's true that they're planning to do 2 animated series at the same time, that maybe the other one can be in this style of animation because it looks fantastic. I know some people think it looks bad, and somehow they think that this is a cheaper form of animation, which is the dumbest thing to believe, but I would like to see more in this style.
Yeah, I like this too. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So
So
that's it, buddy.
yep.
Let's wrap this show up.
There's no more dead horse for us to beat.
I don't know, how did you feel about The Last Jedi? Or how do you feel about The Rise of Skywalker? Let's talk about that some more.
Right. You know, I think, though, what I've learned from doing this podcast is it's fascinating. I've said this many times. It's fascinating seeing what are the different things that bring people to Star Wars. Like, what resonates, why they're a Star Wars fan. And I hope that with all of the bull that this fandom is going through right now, as it's eating itself alive, is that, and not just for this fandom, but for people in general, is that we learn to like listen a little bit more.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna go ahead and quote Padme on this one, but as she says, the Clone Wars represent a failure to listen, and that's, I think, ultimately one of Star Wars' many great messages is that we don't listen to others' point of view. I think that's what this podcast has been about, even as we've switched from like format, you know, for different reasons, or for lack of maybe wanting to go into depth on certain things, or maybe to talk about Marvel or other things. You know, I think that's the cool thing we both learned about this particular adventure in podcasting.
Don't talk for me.
I'm going to talk for you, because you're going to say something stupid in a little bit from your point of view. So I'm taking over your certain point of view.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
No.
Can I shut up now?
No.
No, I agree. I think that, you know, I think I learned a lot about my own fandom and about the nature of fandom by doing this show.
Yeah.
And I think I learned not to hold anything too tightly.
Right.
Because when you hold it too tightly, you put too much importance on it, and it leads to inevitable disappointment and negative feelings. Like, it takes you down a dark path.
Yeah.
Attachment. Yeah. You know, not to be attached. Yeah. Like this has been a lesson of attachment for me.
Yeah.
Like, my attachment to my expectations of what the show would be. Not to hold that too tightly. My expectations of Star Wars and what I want it to be versus what it is.
Yeah.
My attachment to like so many different things, just so many different other things in my life. Like, I've learned lessons by doing this podcast. Like, my and the value of our friendship too.
Oh.
No, for sure. Like,
yeah,
it really has. Like we started this as a friendship thing, right? Yeah. And then we had that one major fight
at
the old studio.
Yeah.
And, like, that scared me. Like, I was like, oh, my God, like, Addie's friendship to me is more important than Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which, I hate to say that.
I know, I hate hearing it, too.
Doesn't sound right.
Because I kind of like Star Wars more than you. Not Rise of Skywalker. I like you more than Rise of Skywalker.
But only marginally.
No, I like you a lot more than Rise of Skywalker.
I'm so glad we got this recorded. Don't edit that out.
No, it's staying in, for sure. These are the emotional, raw, vulnerable moments we share with the world.
I like you more than Rise of Skywalker. But not as much as Ewoks.
No, I like you more than Ewoks.
You like me more than Ewoks? You do not.
Yeah, I like you more than Ewoks.
Aww.
Yeah.
Then admit it, they're stupid.
No,
if you like me, if you truly love me, you'll give me this. We'll end this show.
Wow,
we'll end this show the way we started it.
That's such a way to go down the dark side. Thanks, Anakin. Building your new empire where you hate Ewoks.
Is that wrong?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the right thing.
Like now we're going to fight on Mustafar like shit right here.
You were holding me back this entire time. You're jealous of me and what I've become.
It's about the Republican democracy, Ben.
It's about order.
Yeah, no, I like. I'm trying. So my ranking of Star Wars movies, like, you know, there's Last Jedi, Empire, A New Hope, and
then the
Rogue
rest
One.
of them.
New Hope and Rogue One. Those are my top 4, and then everything else is kind of in a shifting. Like, Return of the Jedi is right after that, and then everything else is sort of shifting after that. I like you more than Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
I'm in the top 5?
Nah, I'm trying to think. Do I like you more than Rogue One, though? I don't know. That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I know you really like that movie.
I know. Do we come back for another episode to figure that one? No.
No, we do not. I'm telling you right now, I'm not doing another episode. Telling you right here, right now. No mas.
Because I know I don't like you more than Last Jedi.
Jesus. Okay. You're a dick.
This is what you sound like to most people.
You've become what you hated. You've become the very thing you hate. Oh, Addy.
I know.
I'm proud of you.
I know.
I do love you.
I love you too, buddy.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's be done.
Yep.
You got anything else to say?
CertainPOV.com. We got lots of other podcasts. I guess you can rate and reviews ours if you really feel like it. If it makes you feel better, it'll help us for serial killers when we're back.
Sure.
But no, be sure to check out. Like, we got lots of other podcasts on CertainPOV.com that you can check out. I'm not going to mention particular podcasts, but I'm going to give shout outs to some of the creators on Certain Point of View, and I'm going to definitely give a shout out to Case Aiken. He would actually stab us if I didn't mention his name.
He'd stab you.
Yeah, he likes you more, I think.
I don't blame him.
No,
I don't think he does.
I
I don't think he does.
No, I know he loves us.
After everything I've put him through on Scruffy, I don't think he loves me very much anymore.
You know what? He's also been a cause of that, as we've said before.
Oh, he's his own worst enemy.
He yeah. He wouldn't write stories like that if he didn't want it.
Yeah. Fucked up mind of Case Aiken.
Right. But yeah, no, check out Case's podcast, Men of Steel, Another Pass. Our buddy J Mike is with him on Men of Steel. Hans and Steven, Real Movie News and Reviews. I've lost track of everything that Matt Storm is doing with Jeff and Rachel and MJ and those are the 3 different podcasts. I think I was able to track all of them right there. But they've got plenty of great stuff on CertainPOV.com, so you can check out all of that there. And we'll still be on Discord, so you can still add us on Discord, and we can still talk about Star Wars there. It's not like I'm going to stop talking about Star Wars. Like that's not going to happen. I'm still that much of a Star Wars fan. But I think we've said all we really want to say on this podcast with Ben and I as a duo in the world of Star Wars. So, yeah. So until we're back, stay scruffy, my Nerf herder.